Welcome to episode 1 of the podcast that talks about young people and challenges they face today. Here are young people from Cambridgeshire discussing body image and social media. Enjoy. Okay, so the first question is regarding social media. So the first way that you're going to answer this question is simply by putting your hand, like raising your hand, if you believe that social media is mainly a positive thing. So the question is social media a positive or negative thing? Put your hand up if you think overall it is positive. Cool. That's a pretty spread out amount, so that's very good. So now we're going to discuss this. Does anybody have any points on why they think it's positive or why they think it's negative? Evan, you've got your hand up. Do you want to start?
Yeah, well, there's such a minority of people that are rude on there that it's not enough to make it a negative place, in my opinion.
Okay, Max?
If people I don't know, are feeling down or something, it's quite easy just to text a mate and say, "Oh, how are you doing?" or just communicate with people. So, like, if you feel isolated or alone or upset and there's no one else to talk to, it's an easy place to reach out to people you know.
Perfect. Nia?
I'm very much on the fence about it because before I kind of got social media at the age of 13, which is like the allowed age. And I think as much as it's had a negative impact, the positive impact kind of combated it. But I do think my life was I was a lot happier before I got social media. But then is that the difference in age or is that social media?
Okay. Aidan?
I think it's quite good for contacting relatives far away. Like if you live in a different country from everyone else, it's good for contacting family over there.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, you wouldn't be able to really, usually.
Yeah, so it's good for communicating with people that are far away. It's good for communication in general, whether that's friends or family. Is there anybody that is strong about it being negative? Jamie, you didn't put your hand up. Why do you not think it's positive?
I don't know. I'm also kind of. I don't really know the right answer. I mean, I guess there's not a right answer, but it's it's very easy to see bad things and like very negative things. And I get like the argument of like, talking to your friends and everything, but the way like I kind of interpreted the question is I don't think often it's a nice place to be.
Yeah, definitely. Anybody else got any points on whether it's positive or negative? Yeah, Libby?
So I think that social media in itself is positive. I think it was made for a positive use. I don't think it was made with intentions to be a bad place. I think it's the people on social media that should take responsibility for making it a bad place. It's not like the whole platform's fault. It's just a few select groups.
Mm-hmm. And you can get that in real life as well, can't you? So it's not necessarily social media that's the issue. Right. If we're ready, we can move on to our next question, which is still surrounding social media. So how does this affect your mental health? How does social media affect a young person's mental health? Nia?
I think from my age especially, we're at a very influential age. So I'm 14 and it's kind of like everybody else's opinions way more than my own. So I think seeing especially like all these models and things like that on Instagram, or seeing all these girls my age having the perfect life, and you're only seeing half of it. And I think that's really damaging on your mental health because you're constantly comparing yourself to other people. And it's not as if like in your own head you're like comparing yourself, you're pressured to compare yourself to other people, because while you're posting on Instagram and you're only getting 50 likes, the girl that looks similar to you and she's your age is getting 100 or 1,000 or however many. You're kind of like, well, I'm not good enough. Why am I not getting these likes? And you're constantly comparing yourself, and that's just a horrible mind frame to be in for anyone, any age, mentally.
Definitely. Anybody else got anything they'd like to add to that? Yeah, Libby?
Also, social media platforms are used to promote eating disorders. There's a lot of people that have like pro-anorexia or pro-bulimia accounts. And TikTok especially, as I'm scrolling through, you just see people promoting unhealthy lifestyles and promoting eating disorders to young people. And I think there's not enough control on that. I think they don't get reported enough, and I think it's quite difficult to control because there's so many people doing it.
So yeah, like what Libby was saying, there's accounts called vent accounts, and it's basically where you look at the more negative aspects of your life and you not promote them, but on like apps like TikTok, your videos do get promoted if you don't have a private account, and they're put on any age for you page, and they're called vent accounts, but there are no trigger warnings or anything, and they just promote, like Libby said, eating disorders, or even just having depression and promoting mental health conditions. And I think on the younger generation, by the time they get to like university age, they're gonna be convinced that they have all sorts of illnesses, and they may have illnesses, but they're gonna be given the wrong idea of them. And I think just looking at the younger generation and how they're being impacted by social media, it's just terrifying, because if you're looking at the influence they can have, it's really scary.
Definitely. So overall, we're going to do the same thing again. Do you think that social media has a positive or negative effect on young people's mental health overall? So put your hand up if you think it's a positive, and keep your hand down if you think it is a negative impact that it has on young people's mental health. Okay, I can see that Max is in the middle. He's flashing his. Okay. So, Evan, why do you think it has a positive impact on young people's mental health?
I think it's a positive impact because, it can kind of help people to aspire to do what they want to do when they're older.
Okay.
And it can prove that people have got there, so they can do it as well.
Max, you were flicking through the middle.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it mainly comes down to, I think a big part of it is who you are. Like, I don't know, if someone commented something bad about me on social media, I just think, oh, go away, I don't care. But other people might take that more seriously and actually get quite upset by that. So I think that's a big part of it, is how you take them comments. And also, I guess, I don't know, I think your own use of social media also has a very big impact on what kind of response you get from people, if that makes sense.
Yeah, definitely. Lily, what do you think about this?
I think that social media is negative, but I don't really know because I don't have it, so I'm not really 100% sure. But from what I've heard of it, it's quite negative, and a lot of people, like Nia said, get very drawn into what they see on there, and it's very perfected like thing of people's lives, not very real.
Yeah, definitely. SJ?
I think it's a bit of both, because it can be a good thing to like express yourself, which makes you feel more confident about yourself. But like everyone's saying, if you see a certain image, it's going to put you down if you don't feel good enough. So like it is 50-50 then, because people are scrolling trying to find either people like them or whatever. They're going to get like more addicted, which is going to like just take them out of like everyday life.
Definitely. Libby, you have your hand up.
I think that one of the biggest problems with social media is how much time it consumes in a young person's life. I'm guilty of this now in lockdown. I'm probably on social media the majority of my day, because I've got nothing else to do. But I say I've got nothing else to do, but I could be doing things much more productive than that. But because it's so easy and so convenient just to pick up your phone and scroll for a bit, and it takes up so much time, you don't see the time passing. I did a mock job interview, and the man who was interviewing me said, I will never ever hire a young person if they put their phone on the table, because it shows it shows how much you rely on it in your life. And if it's like on your person, he's like, why would I want someone who's not going to be 100% focused on my job. So
That's a radical approach. Yeah, no, I'm definitely guilty of it myself. Like, I will sit there and just scroll and scroll and scroll, and you know, if I post something, I'll sit there and wait for likes to come in and be counting them as they go up. But I think I agree with a lot of you. It has positive and negative effects, definitely. Okay, one last question on social media, then we'll move on to body image. What would you change about social media? What is one, or at least one thing that you would change about the way social media comes across and is handled? It can literally be in your wildest dreams. It doesn't have to be something you could actually do. Evan?
Just get rid of people that would be rude on there, because it's not necessarily appropriate.
Yeah. Max?
I get rid of all like the anonymous things, because people can sign up to things anonymously or comment to you anonymously. So I'd get rid of anything like that.
Yeah. Libby?
I'd remove the ability to edit your photos before you post them.
Yeah, guilty as charged, but yeah. I'm only talking filters and things, but you know, face tuning and everything is a huge thing that a lot of people do. Ruslana, what are your thoughts about how you?
I'd probably like to try and block all the negative comments and just try and make it more positive.
Definitely. Who else hasn't spoken? Oh, Nia, you've got your hand up.
I'd filter some words, because the amount of like accounts that request people on Instagram, they're just disgusting. And I think there's so much opportunity for damage to be done to young people. And I think if some like accounts and words were filtered, I think that would be so much better.
Definitely. Libby?
There was another thing. When you sign up for an account, you should have to prove your age, no matter what age you are. So if you say you're 24, you have to prove that you are 24.
Yeah.
So that you can't lie about your age, and it could stop or minimise child grooming, because then the kids that are on there would know how old these people are, because they have to be proved. Of course, there's ways to get around it, but it becomes more tricky.
Definitely. Perfect. Okay, so now we're thinking more about body image, which is obviously linked to social media in a huge way. And that's why me and Hannah kind of picked these two. But what holds you back from being self-confident? What are the main factors that hold you back from being fully confident about yourself? It could be anything. It could be how you view yourself personally, how you compare yourself to others, comments that get made, comments that you see others with. Hannah?
I think it's down to like embarrassment and how you feel like if someone like, because like people aren't that popular, and there's always like a hierarchy in schools at my age, and people are like, oh, if that person's posted, oh, it's not nice, and then it just gets this idea of things spread around, and it's like the fact that then you feel you have to compare yourself to other people. Oh, I won't be as good looking as them, or I won't look like them, and you feel pressured into it.
Yeah, definitely. Evan?
I think it's mostly myself, because I don't always want to do things, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
If it's like possibly dangerous, or like it could make me look an idiot, I won't do it. That makes sense.
Yeah, so other people's opinions in a way.
Yeah.
Yeah. Jasmine, how do you feel like, what holds you back from being fully self-confident?
Well, every person I meet, I always worry that they're not gonna like me, my personality, or anything like that.
So how other people are. Okay, thinking more in terms of how you look, what changes the things that you wear? What changes how you do your hair? If you wear makeup, if you what is the main factors of that, Libby?
Kind of related, I suppose. But so what really gets me is if you're going to go shopping, a size 12 in one shop is going to be a size 8 in another, and a size is going to be a size 14 in another shop. The sizings aren't consistent, so you feel like you're putting on or losing weight, and it's just not a good message to be giving like women at all. Whereas if you go shopping for a man, it's by their waist size and by their leg length, but ours is just like, no, you're a 12, you're a 14, and that's it. So yeah, I think they should standardize it more, make it better.
Okay, so does any males have any opinions on that, of how kind of what changes your personal appearance?
It doesn't really bother me, to be honest. Like, if I wanna, I don't know, I want to look like how I look like. I don't. If I see something on social media, I don't think, oh, I have to look like that. So for me personally, it doesn't bother me in the slightest.
Very good. Yeah, Evan?
Other than my hair, I really don't care how I look, if that makes sense. So as long as my hair's nice, I don't really care.
Okay, so question to both Max and Evan. Have you always felt like that? Have you always felt like you don't care? It's just how I am?
No.
Yeah. I suppose if people don't like me how I am, then they're not going to like me.
Okay. So Evan, you have. Max, you said you haven't.
No. There's like times, like, I don't know. Don't want to go specific, but there's times where, like, I don't know, you do think about it, but wouldn't say it bothers me, but it's something what plays in your back of your mind. I guess it's hard not to.
Yeah. Okay, perfect. Anybody else got anything on what holds you back? No? Okay, so how does your body confidence and your body image and all of that sort of thing affect your mental health? So how does body image affect your mental health? Aidan?
Yeah, well, if you're constantly comparing yourself to others, then you won't be as confident in yourself, and that's going to be damaging to mental health, obviously.
Definitely.
Especially at a young age.
Yeah, such an impressionable age as well. Hannah?
I feel like there's like an invisible wall of pressure that's there for, I'm not saying just for women, but for in general, that you see people online and then you're like, oh, I wish I was them. And then like there's just like a feeling of just like, not, I don't know how to explain it, but it's like there's that feeling there, and you're like, you like don't like how you are, and you want to change yourself to be like others, but you don't, you just don't.
Yeah, definitely. Anybody else on how body, Libby?
I think quite badly if it gets to the point where you start putting yourself, your personality down because of how you think you look. So if you think, oh, I look awful, no one's going to like me, I think that's making your looks all you are. You're thinking whatever I look like is everything I am, and that's it. And I think that's when it becomes a big problem, when you start to identify with only your looks and none of your good qualities. Yeah, I think that can really affect your mental health.
Definitely. Anybody else? Okay, so our final question, because we were just doing these two topics, is what would you change about how body confident, like what would you change about body confidence in general in all young people? How would you change this, and what would you change? Evan?
I would change that it stops people from doing what they actually want to do in life.
Okay, so it can get to the point where people genuinely won't leave the house or won't try new things because of how they feel about themselves. Yeah? Libby?
I think one thing that needs to be changed is how parents affect their children. Because if you see your mum, for example, who constantly wants to try and lose weight, or like says, oh, this clothing doesn't suit me, or like constantly put herself in the mirror, the kid's going to pick up on it, and I think that could lead them to the same issues later on in life. So kind of making sure that you set a good example for your children to grow up with.
Yeah, definitely. So having those role models in place where there's positive role models, which I think there's quite a few more on social media in terms of, I know there's Lizzo, who is amazing for body confidence and being confident in yourself. So having those positive role models is a real change. Anybody else change anything? Lily?
I think that like movies, if that makes sense, is quite an influence, like Disney princess movies and stuff, because they always look very like perfectly done in all of them, and you watch them from a very young age, so you start to think like, oh, I'm supposed to look like that. I think if we have more real kind of kids movies, that might change people.
Definitely, that would be really good actually. Aidan?
I know it might be a bit off topic, but I think also toys are quite influential at a young age.
Yeah.
Like especially girls' toys, I find they don't like let them feel like they can do as much. They kind of limit them in a way, I feel. Like
Yeah.
boys can play with Lego or make stuff, but girls, I don't know, because I'm not a girl, but tend to be more restricted.
Yeah, definitely. I know when I was shopping for like a little girl, and there was all the boys' toys, and they literally had everything, and then the girls' toys was like a kitchen and that sort of thing, and it still happens to this day. Obviously it doesn't mean that the girls can't play Lego, but it does mean that sometimes it's more encouraged to do the other things, which isn't body image, but it is those stereotypes of how you're meant to be. Libby?
And also, if you look at the difference between the prices of the boys' toys and the girls' toys are always slightly more expensive. Things like razors, it's called the pink tax. So women are charged way more just to have it in a different colour, and I think that's stupid. So we're almost like, we need these things to be pretty and accepted as women, feminine, but we need to be charged more for it. And I don't think that's right.
There was those pens, wasn't there? The Bic pens, and the pink ones were like £2 extra or something.
Yeah, it was like pens for her, and I was like, what difference does it make? Like, if you're marketing products towards women as if they need them because they're unable to use the male products, you're marketing toward them as inferior, and I think that takes a big hit on women's confidence.
Definitely, but also it can pressure men to be that kind of alpha character, and that they have to be ahead in a certain way, and go into the gym and things, and boys are always expected to go to the gym and work out, and girls are expected to do that, but kind of a bit secretly, and just do your makeup and things like that. Has anybody else got anything about what you'd change about body image and how it affects young people? No? Perfect. That's all our questions. Thank you so much. This discussion's actually been really good. So obviously this is our trial one. We're hoping to do a few more in another one with you guys, and possibly the CAPs as well, the community ambassadors, and then hoping to do some more in the future. So thank you very much. It's been good. What do you think, Hannah?
Yeah, it's been really helpful. I like some of the things I said, and I feel like we can do something with this.
Perfect. Thank you very much, guys. That's all from us.